This is the Leitmotif and Movement podcast, a father and son's journey into the vast worlds of music. I am your host, Mike Ficklin, and joining me on this epic musical journey is my son,
Michael Ficklin.
This show is dedicated to the discussion of music and introducing Michael to music from the past and present. We will mainly be discussing the genres of rock, hard rock, and heavy metal. We will also from time to time dive into film and video game scores, and we'll sprinkle in some surprises along the way. Michael, what have you been listening to this week?
Just really the same thing I was listening to last week, and also the assignments.
What's some of the stuff from last week for those that haven't listened to the last episode?
I have listened to Skillet, Linkin Park, Foo Fighters, my big playlist, and of course the assignments.
Very good. Finding anything else new that you like?
Nah.
Same stuff as always?
Yep. Other than I have found that I have liked a few more songs on the Foo Fighters record.
Yeah? Which ones?
Monkey Wrench and the song after that.
Yeah, the song after that is my favorite song on the record, Hey Johnny Park. I love that song. And then for the record we're talking about is Foo Fighters' second record, The Color and the Shape.
Alright, what have you been listening to?
For me, I listened to a couple more releases from Anthrax. I listened to their most recent studio record, For All Kings, recently. And I gotta say, I didn't walk away from it all that impressed. I really liked Worship Music, which was the studio album right before this. In fact, I really think Worship Music might be in my, top 2 favorite Anthrax records. But For All Kings just, I don't know, something about it just didn't resonate with me. There's a couple of songs on there that I like pretty well. I do like the song Blood Eagle Wings. I like Breathing Lightning. I like Evil Twin okay, but I really feel like that's it. The rest of the album's kind of mediocre. The other Anthrax release I listened to was Kings Among Scotland, which is a live record, and this thing just brings the energy. It's a really, really good live release. Lots of really good songs from their catalog. I was really impressed with this. Liked this better than listening to For All Kings, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I also listened to the new EP from A Sense of Purpose titled Pushing Daisies. The Cleveland, Ohio metalcore band is back with their new 4-song EP, and I enjoyed my time with it. The band isn't breaking any new ground per se. It's very much that metalcore sound we've all grown accustomed to. However, it just sounds excellent. There's some outstanding guitar work on this album. The new single Pushing Daisies plays more on the melodic side of things and feels very Atreyu-esque. The EP seamlessly bounces between heavy and melodic moments as you would expect. It's a solid release. I also listened to the new release from the Mars Volta. It surprise dropped on April 11th. The title of the record is, and I'm probably going to mispronounce it, I believe it's Lucro Sucio Los Ojos del Vacío, and it's their 9th album. It represents the continued evolution of the band into more of an experimental pop territory, so if you were hoping for a return to their older style, you're not going to see it here. I was not a fan of the band's previous album, 2022's self-titled release. It just felt way too poppy. However, I will say that I did find the journey on this new record fascinating. The band goes out of its way to create a very unique sound, lots of changes and out-of-the-blue instruments that kind of keep you on your toes. While it's not something that I would regularly listen to, I do feel it's a step forward for the band. Last thing that I listened to was the re-release deluxe edition of Shining from Swallow the Sun. The original version of the album came out last year, and this is pretty much the same record with 4 additional tracks added. There's 2 live songs, which is live versions of Innocence Was Long Forgotten and What I Have Become. Then there's also new edits of Innocence Was Long Forgotten and Melancholy. The album remains solid. I just don't feel that we've gotten anything to really write home about with this quote-unquote deluxe edition. The live tracks are good and show that the songs from Shining do translate very well live. I just would have preferred some tracks that wound up on the cutting room floor to fill out this re-release. So, haven't really been listening to as much as weeks past. There are a couple of other things that I've listened to, but I'm not going to get into those yet because we may or may not have some more bonus episodes coming. So, do you have anything else on this before we move into our next segment?
Nope.
Okay. We are moving into our next segment. This is the Art of Discovery, wherein we go in and listen to some bands that are either unsigned or undiscovered, or bands that we just feel like deserve some additional love. And we've got a phenomenal selection for you this time around. We're going to start out with something that I'm really excited about. Michael, we are getting to debut a song for a band on our show.
Yep.
How freaking cool is this?
Cool. That means we're making it up in the world.
I am beyond ecstatic about this. I love getting the opportunity to actually play something that nobody else has heard yet. This is awesome. We are debuting the song A Burial for Giants from Bragging Rights, and this is coming off of their forthcoming album, A Personal Curse. Check it out. And once again, that was Bragging Rights with A Burial for Giants. Bragging Rights are a sludge-infused progressive death metal band out of the UK, and this song is coming from their forthcoming album, A Personal Curse, which drops on May 30th. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page at braggingrights2022.bandcamp.com. Michael, what did you think about that? Cool as hell we got to debut a song, right?
Yes. Very, very, very cool.
Did you like the song?
Yeah.
Goes hard as hell, right?
Nice and heavy. Yeah. Brings on the heavy.
I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the album.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
All right. Our next song is from a band from our neck of the woods, Michael. This is a metal band out of Indiana. This is Night of the Round with their song Torn from the Heavens. And once again, that was Night of the Round with their song Torn from the Heavens. This is from their upcoming album, Refractions, which drops on April the 25th. Night of the Round are a metal band out of Indiana, and if you couldn't tell already, they do covers of Final Fantasy songs. Torn from the Heavens actually comes from Final Fantasy XIV. You can pre-order this album on digital, vinyl, and CD, and purchase any of their other music from their Bandcamp page at nightoftheround.bandcamp.com. I love Night of the Round. I love this song. Michael, what did you think?
That was just a great, yeah.
You talking like a great interpretation of the original version of the song, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. It feels huge and epic, right?
Yes.
Good stuff. Our last song on this segment comes from a band called Derelicts. They are a progressive metal band out of France, and this is their song Shores featuring Alex Orta. And once again, that was Shores featuring Alex Orta by Derelicts. And again, Derelicts is a progressive metal band out of France. You can purchase this song and their other music from their Bandcamp page, derelictsmusic.bandcamp.com. Michael, what did you think about that one?
Holy eventful.
Right?
Wow.
That's
wow.
one hell of a journey, right?
Yes.
I was thoroughly impressed the first time I heard that song. It's so good.
Wow.
I need to do a deep dive into the rest of their catalog. I was super, super impressed with this.
Wowzers.
Yes, indeed. Michael, do you got anything else before we close up this segment?
Nope. Other than thank you to all the bands.
100%. I will echo those sentiments. We would like to thank all of the bands that we got to feature tonight on The Art of Discovery, and a very extra special thanks to Bragging Rights for allowing us to debut a song.
Yeah.
I'm still blown away by that. Absolutely awesome. Thanks again to all of the bands. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
And if you would like to be featured on this segment, please feel free to reach out to us on any of our social media accounts or shoot us an email at lightmovepod@gmail.com. We would love to check you out. All right, and now we're going to move into our main topic of the episode. This time we are breaking down Dredg's 2002 release El Cielo. Michael, I have been looking forward to this, man.
I know.
Are you ready for this?
Yep. Very ready.
All right, so El Cielo is the second album from American progressive alternative rock band Dredg. It was released on October 8th, 2002 by Interscope Records. Like Dredg's first record, Leitmotif, El Cielo is a concept album. The title can be translated to mean the sky or the heaven in Spanish, and to mean peace and freedom of expression in dreams. Get this, Michael, the album was recorded at George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch in California. Pretty darn cool.
Yeah. Yes, very.
I'm also going to provide some additional background from an old website that no longer exists anymore, but thanks to the miracle of the internet Wayback Machine, I'm able to go back and pull this information up. This information comes from the now defunct traversingboard.com site. This website had a wealth of information about all of Dredg's records and the direct influences on them and kind of breakdowns of what the songs are about. And while the author of this information says that this information that we're about to hear about is in no way 100% accurate, and that there's no perfect answer to all of the information below, this is based on ideas that were supplied within El Cielo. So there's some really good information to come on this, Michael. We're going to wax poetic about this for a while. So first off, the album is based on a painting, or inspired by a painting. It is inspired by a painting done by Salvador Dali in 1944. The title of the painting is Dream Caused by the Flight of a Bee Around a Pomegranate 1 second before awakening. Dali commented on his own work. For the first time, Freud's discovery that a typical narrative dream is prompted by something that wakes us was illustrated in a picture. If a bar falls on a sleeper's neck, it both wakes him and prompts a long dream that ends with the falling of the guillotine. Similarly, the The buzzing of the bee in the painting prompts the bayonet prick that weakens Gala. The burst pomegranate gives birth to the entirety of biological creation. Bernini's elephant in the background bears an obelisk and also shows the papal insignia. Dali often described his paintings as hand-painted dream photographs and specialized in what could be called oniric paintings, which are paintings which refer to or duplicate the condition of dreaming. Dali also commented on modernization. Do not bother about being modern. Unfortunately, it is the one thing that, whatever you do, you cannot avoid. The album also has a basis in concept around the idea, or I guess not so much the idea, but a natural state of our body called sleep paralysis. And sleep paralysis is a natural bodily function that causes us to be paralyzed during sleep. It prevents us from hurting ourselves or others during dreams. It's when it follows us into the waking state that it becomes a disorder. Sleep paralysis, or more properly, sleep paralysis with hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations, have been singled out as a particularly likely source of beliefs concerning not only alien abductions, but all manner of beliefs in alternative realities and otherworldly creatures. Sleep paralysis is a condition in which someone, most often lying in a supine position, about to drop off to sleep, or just upon waking from sleep, realizes that she or he is unable to move, speak, or cry out. This may last a few seconds or several moments, occasionally longer. People frequently report feeling a presence that is often described as malevolent, threatening, or evil. An intense sense of dread and terror is very common. The presence is likely to be vaguely felt or sensed just out of sight, but thought to be watching or monitoring, often with intense interest, sometimes standing by or sitting on the bed. On some occasions, the presence may attack, strangling and exerting crushing pressure on the chest. People also report auditory, visual, proprioceptive, and tactile hallucinations, as well as floating sensations and out-of-body experiences. The album also takes concept from lucid dreaming, and the definition of lucid dreaming in this case means dreaming while knowing that you're dreaming. This consciousness allows you to guide your dreams. This fascinating state of consciousness allows you to control your dreams and experience anything imaginable, from the sublime to the impossible. Lucidity usually begins in the midst of a dream, when the dreamer realizes that the experience is not occurring in physical reality, but it is a dream. Often this realization is triggered by the dreamer noticing some impossible or unlikely occurrence in the dream, such as flying or meeting the deceased. Sometimes people become lucid without noticing any particular clue in the dream. They just suddenly realize they're in a dream. It can also be lucid dreaming when you wake up from a dream, and you enjoyed it so much that you can go back to sleep and finish the dream. And now, the second half of the dream is so much more colorful and bright than the first part. Now, instead of the dream having you, you have the dream. So with all of that said, Michael, did this give you any context clues about what you listened to when you went through and listened to this album?
Like, just from hearing the first song, I thought it was about, like, art.
Correct, yeah. So, in explaining that this is also partially inspired by a Dali painting, you can definitely infer that from the first song, right? Mm-hmm. Especially from the title.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think with that said, we can dive into our track-by-track analysis. We open up with Brushstroke DCB TFOA BAA POSBA.
A bunch of random letters.
Actually, it's not.
Oh?
It is an abbreviation for the title of the painting this album is inspired by. Dream caused by the flight of a bee around a pomegranate 1 second before awakening. So this is kind of an intro track. Michael, what did you think about this one?
I was really confused. I was confused what you had me listening to.
Why were you confused?
Because all I was hearing was scratching, really.
So what you're hearing there is dredge bass guitarist Durier painting on a canvas.
I thought it was going to be like sketching on a paper with a pencil or some type of painting.
Yep, doing some sort of artwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's the sound of a master painter putting the paintbrush to paper. The initial strokes of the soon-to-be masterpiece. Inspiration flows, anticipation builds. We're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And we go into track number 2, Same Old Road. Michael, do you want me to give a little bit of the background from Traversing Board on this before you give your thoughts on this, or do you want to go ahead and give your thoughts on this?
I'm gonna give my thoughts.
Okay, go ahead.
This is my second favorite song on this record. I love the vocals. I love the instruments. It's just
it's a phenomenal listen.
Just perfect.
Yeah.
I love the what the singer does with his vocals. Like, it keeps them like soft. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just perfect.
His control is amazing.
Yeah. I would have trouble with staying on that for that long. I'd want to like shoot up to the skies or shooting down.
Getting pitchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right off the bat, we're greeted with the sound of Dredge's outstanding rhythm section. We hear the opening bass notes from Drew Roulette, accompanied by Dino Campanella's drums. We get the briefest taste of Mark Engel's guitar. Then vocalist Gavin Hayes comes in with a haunting and ethereal performance. The music swells as we get into the sub-chorus before falling back into our bass drum rhythm. Hayes returns with the hauntingly beautiful vocals. Again, the music swells as we get into the sub-chorus again, and this time we get into a full band explosion for the chorus. I love this song. It's an absolutely gorgeous opener.
Yes, it is.
So, according to Traversing Board, the term tintinnabullitis is used in the journal booklet for El Cielo for the song Same Old Road, and the definition of that word is a ringing or tinkling sound. The lyric, "Here we go down that same old road again," most likely refers to the recurrence of sleep paralysis and the dream state. Here goes the sleeper falling into deep sleep. Here she goes down the road of sleep paralysis again. Most sufferers of sleep paralysis do not only have a single episode, and therefore it is understandable that he or she would be reluctant to have the experience again. The lyrics, "Wind that blows and tickles our skin," relate to sleep paralysis due to the many reports of feeling and hearing wind blowing over and around one's body. This wind is said to tickle the victim at times, and at other times the spirit that haunts the sufferer, known as the incubus, is said to tickle the victim, which is said to start out playfully but can become painful. Michael, anything else on Same Old Road before we move on to the next track?
Nope.
All right. So we move into track number 3. This is Sanzin. Michael, what do you got on this one?
This song just works well as a transition from Same Old Road.
It's an awesome song.
Yeah. When I first was listening to it, I didn't even know I thought it was all the same song.
Yeah, the transition is really smooth between the two tracks, right?
Yeah, just perfection.
I really love the way that the guitar swells to open this song up.
Yeah.
We hear the drums come in, and then the song kicks into full gear. The vocal melody on this song is so damn good. The chorus to the song is absolutely anthemic. Musically, it sounds so huge and expansive. There's a great bass line from Drew on this. There's this really chaotic moment that happens about 3/4 of the way through the song that includes a piano and the sounds of things just building to a crescendo before we get into a slower ballady part of the song, complete with piano.
Big words for you.
What's that?
I said big words from you. You said crescendo. What is a crescendo? Explain to the audience.
It's the loudest point reached in a gradually increasing sound.
Yes, that is correct. I love fact-checking you.
Fun fact, speaking of, this is the first song that I ever heard from the band. I was walking through Best Buy's CD section when this song began playing through their overhead speakers, and as fate would have it, I was actually there looking for El Cielo anyway, as a friend had recommended the band to me.
That is a very interesting way to find...
Right? So according to our friend over at Traversing Board, Sanzen in Buddhist philosophy signifies the varying aspects and phases that life assumes. Zanzen, as it is also spelled, is a sitting practice that allows time for quiet contemplation on the wonders of God and nature before the inevitable return to consciousness. The lyrics, "I can't even concentrate on this," refer to the need to meditate. Many people believe that meditation, though beneficial to your overall health, can help induce episodes of sleep paralysis, along with stress, lack of sleep, fatigue, and agony. It's not surprising to see this list for the lyrics. Hold on, we'll be with you soon. Longing for what has been lost, and longing for what hasn't been obtained. It's a small cost. Forgot the past, lost the future, only now remains. Seem to point out to a great loss, which according to these reports can cause one to hallucinate or have episodes of sleep paralysis. There's also something called the Sanzen Temple, and for much of its history, Sanzen has been one of Kyoto's most isolated temples, situated in the village of Ohara, some way to the north of the city. Today, its setting is still quiet and rural, so a trip to this ancient but well-preserved temple makes a very worthwhile break from the noise of Kyoto. It was founded over 1,000 years ago as an offshoot of the great Tendai Buddhist monastery on nearby Mount Heil. Pretty interesting. Michael, anything else on Sanzen before we move along?
Position. It's the same song. I'm convinced.
All right, moving on to track number 4. This is Brushstroke, New Heart Shadow. Michael, what do you got on this one?
It really shows what the band can do with the instruments.
Yeah, it's kind of the first segue on the record, right?
Yeah. I would consider the first song a segue, but
it's more of an intro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a really jazzy number. Dino's just killing it on the drums on this one. There's a great bass line from Drew. Mark's guitar tone kind of reminds me of something we might hear on a vintage surf record. It's a really fun interlude. According to our friends over on Traversing Board, clue number 4 from dredg.com was an image made with a brush, and this clue refers to the 4th track, Brushstroke New Heart Shadow, or the image made with a brush, in this case, a New Heart Shadow, which can be seen in the painting by Dali. Amygdala, which was used in the journal booklet of El Cielo for Newhart's shadow, and the definition for amygdala is an almond-shaped neural structure in the anterior part of the temporal lobe of the cerebrum, intimately connected with the hypothalamus and the hippocampus and the cingulate gyrus. As part of the limbic system, it plays an important role in motivation and emotional behavior. All right, moving into track number 5. This is Triangle. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I like everything about this song. To point out a few things, the vocals and the instruments, but I really like this song too.
Yeah, this one opens up with a beautiful string section and the sounds of Dino's drums before opening in full to the song intro, and we get this beautiful and haunting vocal melody. Another outstanding bass line from Drew in this opening section, marked with a very Edge from U2 like guitar riff. Then the song stops and we get the sound of a ringing bell before getting into the song proper. There's some great time changes in this song. The piece of the song where they break into the "We live like penguins in the desert" and into the big anthemic section is such a fantastic transition. This is one of the most diverse songs on the record. From our friends on Traversing Board, Triangle, this actually seems to really be the symbol delta. Delta has a couple of meanings. First, it relates to water, specifically a low triangular area where a river divides before entering a larger body of water. Lyrics in the song could reference this in some way, but delta also is the symbol for change, and during this track, the point of change is referenced as well. To add to it all, in sleep there are delta waves, so it would seem that all meanings relate well to this symbol and this track. It is sung in part, "We live like penguins in the desert," which relates directly to the track "Penguins in the Desert" from Leitmotif, their previous record.
Leitmotif? That sounds familiar.
Really? Where have you heard that word before?
I wonder. I wonder if it's in the name of our podcast.
Michael, do you have anything else on this one?
Nah.
Okay, so we'll move into track number 6. This is Sorry, But It's Over. Michael, what do you got on this one?
I love the opening to this song. It's just amazing. I like the vocals. I like the instruments. It's just, just amazing.
The song has a really bombastic opening before it slows down for a more haunting first verse.
Definitely.
The music in the chorus picks things back up for more of a straight-up rocker. I do like this song, although it doesn't stand out to me in the same way that some of the other songs on the record do. It's still a really solid performance from the band, though.
Everything has been a solid performance.
100%. Our friends over on Traversing Board say about this song, the lyrics, "Seduction for destruction, I'm finally breathing." This could refer to people who suffer from sleep paralysis. They experience chest pressure, which makes it very difficult to breathe. It is said that the chest pressure is caused by the incubus, which is a demon who lurks on your chest. In 1781, Henry Fuseli painted The Nightmare, depicting this event. A woman in white lies on a divan in front of dark red drapes. Her head and arms are thrown back in tormented sleep. A ghastly demon sits on her chest, leering. In these days, this was said to be how people explored sex and the murky areas of the psyche where sex and fear meet. It should also be noted that Dali has said to have been greatly inspired by this particular painting and was his inspiration for many paintings. Michael, do you have anything else on Sorry But It's Over?
I wasn't expecting that one. I slowly scoot back in my chair. I think I went halfway across my room. Yeah.
That all you got?
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, we move into track number 7. This is Convalescent. Michael, what do you got on this one?
Favorite song on the album.
Really? Convalescent is your favorite song? Okay, well, tell me about it.
I just love the song. There's not enough words put to it. I love the vocals. I love the instruments. I love the opener. Too many words. Can't think of enough.
This song, it definitely has a really bouncy rhythm to it. It's driven by Dino's fantastic drums and Mark's hooky guitar work. Mm-hmm. Drew also has a fantastic bass line on this. The chorus is a big, straightforward rocker. It's a really fun listen. It's definitely one of those where I find myself bobbing my head and stomping my feet throughout. Very catchy. Really good vocal melody hook in the chorus as well. Outstanding song, yeah. It's a really fun song. I could definitely see why you like this. From Traversing Board, they say the definition of convalescent is a gradual return to health and strength after illness. It could also be the period needed for returning to health after illness. Gavin sings in part, he's just scared about dying. Michael, do you have anything else on Convalescent since this is your favorite song on the record?
My notes, I say there's not enough to say about it.
Not enough superlatives?
Yeah, there's just not enough words to say about it. This song's just amazing.
I'm glad you like this. It is a really good song. Okay, from here, we move into track number 8. This is Brushstroke Walk in the Park. And this is the second of the brushstroke segues. And my personal favorite one. Michael, what do you got on this one?
Holy. This is probably my favorite with you on the brushstrokes. But this song's just peaceful. Just peaceful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Perfectly organized, composed, too many words, yeah.
It's a really beautiful piano piece.
Yeah.
And it's accompanied by a gorgeous string section. Mm-hmm. It's peaceful and serene. It does at one point give a sense of unease and dread all of a sudden before returning to the serene. Almost like when you're sleeping peacefully, then having a sudden nightmare, then returning to that peaceful sleep.
I feel this album's pretty targeted towards something. I don't know.
According to our friends on Traversing Board, this track was written by Dino. It was written in an effort to capture one of his personal dreams, which fits with the concept of the album. All right, we go from Brushstroke Walk in the Park to track number 9. This is 18 People Living in Harmony. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I like the instruments and vocals on this song. Would have to... And this song has a bit of a different opener from the other songs. It kind of gets like right into the vocals, unlike the other songs.
Yeah, it's a really interesting opening, isn't it? Kind of sounds like Dino might be playing on a set of triangles or bells of some kind.
They should have played on the triangles on the triangle song.
Triangle song? I always think the same thing, honestly. I think the music on this song has a really unique sound to it. It's definitely more unique than anything else on the record. There's a really interesting rhythm to it, especially during the verses. I always enjoy additional strings, and they work really well here, especially with references in the lyrics to closing down an opera house theater. Again, there are some really interesting transitions and timing changes in this song. It really keeps you invested. Really good song.
Yes.
According to Traversing Board, the lyrics, the opera is over, singers have all gone home, seats are empty, the kitchen is closed, and the symphony's concluded, the instruments are all cased up, the notes are silent, music still apparent. The opera orchestra setting that is being described in the song relates to sleep paralysis. At times, sufferers of this problem can hear music, sometimes what they were listening to while falling asleep, while other times it is something they have only heard once and do not even remember. While paralyzed, the sounds become increasingly more intense, then come to an abrupt end. Take a look at the picture on the album's cover or from the limited edition album's booklet. The image portrays a bed in the center with an instrument on either side. By taking this into account, one can see that the idea of sleep and music are evident even on the cover for the album. While many of the lyrics from the song also deal with change and modernization, these lyrics in particular refer to items within the idea of sleep paralysis. This song is also most definitely about neglecting art in its various forms. We need to acknowledge our art in various cultures, but instead we modernize our lives and conform to ideals just because we've been fed them. Pretty deep, right? Michael, do you have anything else on this song?
No.
Okay. So we'll move to track number 10. This is Scissor Lock. Michael, what do you have on this one?
Listening to the song, also just the instruments and vocals.
Yeah, what an absolutely haunting and ethereal song.
Yeah.
Gavin's lyrics dealing with the effect of sleep paralysis are deeply emotional. There's a sense of melancholy in his vocal delivery. I find the music for this song to be hauntingly beautiful.
I've heard melancholy before too.
What's that?
I said I've heard the word melancholy before too.
The music's so simple, but evokes this deep sense of sadness. It's such a good song.
Mm-hmm.
From Traversing Board, track 10 on the album Scissor Lock, the song is more about the concept of the album than any other track. Just listen to the lyrics and the sounds in the song, thus the theme. The second letter of the alphabet is B, which sounds like bee, the insect. When people experience sleep paralysis, they have reported that they hear a buzzing noise similar to white noise that turns into the sound of like 100 bees. In the painting, to the right and up a little bit, one can barely see a bee flying towards the pomegranate. Another reference to the song Scissor Lock. Also, the theory to what NIMBY means is that it is an acronym that stands for Not in My Backyard. This is used in some context regarding the erection and placement of power, electricity lines, generators, and/or towers near people's homes. The gist behind the phrase is that people who were against the idea would say "not in my backyard" to those wanting to put up the electric towers, and everyone knows those towers make a buzzing sound. Hence, this phrase may have something to do with the white noise buzzing theme due to the peripheral sound made by power lines. Always thought that explanation was really interesting.
That is a very interesting explanation.
It definitely puts the song in proper context, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michael, do you have anything else on Scissor Lock?
Nope.
Okay. Moving right along to track number 11. This is another brushstroke. This is Brushstroke Reprise. Michael, what do you have on this?
I like how it kind of... I'm trying to think of how to word it. I kind of like how it... a noticeable thing when I was listening to the song, or intermission type thing, is that you could hear vocals from Same Old Road and stuff.
Yeah, that's called a reprise
That
in music.
I
Hence hence the title of the song too.
That's what I was thinking. And you want to know why I was thinking that? I was thinking about the first song off Juggernaut Omega on it's called Reprise 2. And it's a more melodic version of the first song off Juggernaut Alpha called...
Both albums by Periphery, by the
Yes.
way, for those that don't know.
A Black Minute.
Yeah.
And getting back on topic, I think it's cool how they were implementing the reprise version of Same Old Road.
Yeah, it's much different musically.
Yeah. And it kind of comes in as echoes.
Yeah, it's kind of like ethereal and haunting.
Yes.
I have written down in my notes, this segue invites us back down that same old road. It's not a complete revisit of the first track, though. This one opens with a synth and what sounds like maybe a drum machine, along with Gavin's haunting reprise of the line, "Here we go, down that same old road again." And then it goes into an acoustic passage with a kind of twangy slide guitar over the top of it. Kind of has almost a Western vibe to it. It's a really interesting change.
Yeah.
From the notes on the Traversing website, the definition of reprise is a repetition of a phrase or verse. Could also be a return to an original theme, or a recurrence or resumption of an action. One could look at this brushstroke reprise just as the definition points as a recurrence, in this case the return to the beginning of the dream state, that is, thus the repeated Same Old Road. However, one must point out that in this version of Same Old Road, the music is slightly different. The cause, the repeated dream, is simply evidence that one's basic issues continue to seethe, seeking to be recognized and resolved. Repeated dreams may wear different costumes, but they reenact the same basic play, which is usually a core issue for the dreamer, or some problem that is currently on her or his mind. In other words, this relates perfectly to why the song is brought back yet slightly different. Michael, do you have anything else on this brushstroke before we move along?
Nope.
Okay. Now we move into track number 12. This is Of the Room. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I love the opener on this song. Also, I love the instruments. I just like the song.
What a total banger of a song, man. I love the syncopated rhythm through the verses. Dino's drum work on this track is absolutely stellar. It's very jazzy. Drew and Mark are in lockstep throughout the verses. It's a simple guitar riff that sounds almost mechanical in a way. Gavin's lyrics provide what seem like fragments from a dream. His vocal delivery through the verses has a sort of ethereal, stilted vibe to them. Then we get treated to this big, heavy chorus. This is probably the heaviest Dredg gets on this record. There are some very cool transitions in this song. Definitely one of my personal favorites on the record. And, fun fact, one of the few Dredg songs that I have been trying to teach myself on the guitar.
Oh.
I love this song that much.
All right. So we won't teach us a Foo Fighters song, but we will teach us.
I didn't say one. I didn't say I wouldn't teach myself a Foo Fighter song. I'm just saying I've been trying to learn this song.
I'm messing with you.
According to Traversing Board, this track is an actual recurring dream Gavin has about being smothered or suffocated, which is perfect, seeing as many sufferers of sleep paralysis have reported that they feel they are being suffocated and cannot breathe. The lyrics, a faceless crowd, cast shadows from the corner of the room, cloudy senses. These fragments of the song's lyrics most likely refer to the fact that many sufferers of sleep paralysis say that through cloudy senses they have visions of a faceless dark figure in the corner of the room. I love this song so much. It's amazing. Michael, do you have anything else on Of the Room?
Nope.
Okay. We move right along to track number 13. This is Brushstroke, an Elephant in the Delta Waves. And this is actually the last of the brushstrokes. Michael, what do you have on this segue?
It kind of just gave me a sense of peace at the beginning, and then they added the female voiceover over the music.
It's a very different type of music.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like some like composer. It just reminds me. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. It seems to me like this segue seems to be influenced by like Middle Eastern music. It's so different from anything else on the record. It's really hypnotic. The female vocal over the top of the music is unique in the best of ways. It seems like the kind of song you would hear playing in a movie when we visit someplace exotic or ethereal.
Mm-hmm.
According to Traversing Board, the delta wave is between 1 and 3 hertz, and this range is the stage of sleep that is the deepest, most rejuvenating stage of dreamless sleep. It provides profound levels of stress reduction and has a very healing effect on the body. This is the state in which the brain is fully at rest. In the painting, you can see an elephant in the sky, or in the way it is meant to seem in sleep or delta waves, an elephant in the delta waves. In the journal booklet of El Cielo, nirvana is used for an elephant in the delta waves, and the definition of nirvana from Hinduism and Buddhism is the beatitude that transcends the cycle of reincarnation, characterized by the extinction of desire and individual consciousness. It can also be any place of complete bliss and delight and peace.
That is correct. Because I actually learned about that this year in history class.
Learned about what?
I think we were talking about Egypt, and we had talked about some of the religions, and we had talked about Nirvana and stuff.
Okay. Fantastic.
Not the band.
I know.
I had to put that out in the air.
You're not gonna find me making that mistake. Ain't gonna catch me slipping.
What? People at school wear Nirvana shirts all the time. I doubt they know who they are. And I promise you, not
one of them knows a single song. Tell them to listen to our show. Do you have anything else on this brushstroke before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. So we'll move on to track number 14. This is It Only Took a Day. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I love the opening and the instruments on this song and the vocals. I've been loving these openings. They've been interesting and perfecting.
Yeah, I love the beginning of this song too. It builds and builds until breaking into the song proper. Mm-hmm. Mark's guitar work is spectacular. This is another song that is on the heavy side from a musical standpoint. The rhythm section of Dino and Drew just kick all kinds of ass on this one. I really enjoy Mark's guitar work throughout. I really like the sort of warbling effect they have on some of Gavin's vocals. It gives his vocal performance a sort of dreamy, ethereal vibe. This one always gets my feet stomping and head banging. Great stuff. From Traversing Board, this track was or is Gavin's personal experience of standing inside the painting by Dali. This makes for a very interesting take on the artwork. Read the lyrics, listen to the music. It is intended to be Gavin's personal journey through his vision of the painting. The lyrics, fading with growth, lie awake, could easily refer to children or young adults, typically spend 20 to 25% of sleep in delta wave sleep. This decreases to less than 10% by age 60. Sleepwalking, sleep terrors, and sleep-related episodes generally occur in this stage. Michael, do you have anything else on It Only Took a Day?
Nope.
Okay. Now we move into track number 15. This is Woe Is Me. Michael, what do you have on this one?
I like the sax at the beginning. That's
dude.
Really different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is just amazing. And I love how it slowly, the sax slowly starts to fade as they bring in more instruments and the vocals. I love that how they did the mixing with that.
Yeah, it's very well done. This song is just pure poetry. The dissonant sounds of a sax open this one up. It's sort of disorienting and haunting. And once into the song proper, we're treated to a jazzy sound for the opening verse. Again, Dino is absolutely on point with his drumming. I love Gavin's vocal delivery on this song so much. The pre-chorus is one of my absolute favorite pieces of music in the entire album. It builds tension as Gavin gives an impassioned vocal delivery. Then we reach the crescendo as the song gives way to its epic chorus. It's a short song, but it's so big on melody and beauty. The close of the song with the sort of post-song introduction is very cleverly done. If you pay close attention, you'll pick up the clues of one of the inspirations for the record. From Traversing Board, the lyrics floating on a dry lake bed. The use of the word floating in particular to convey an image refers directly to the painting where Gala is floating above the dry ground below her. One cannot be certain that this is or not a dry lake bed, but the idea of floating corresponds to the painting as well as the dreamlike state. The lyrics with a dry mouth and a foggy head. The images being portrayed here are directly related to dreams and, more importantly, sleep paralysis. Sufferers of sleep paralysis have said they awaken from this state with a very dry mouth and have a hard time remembering some or all of the experience. At the end of Woe Is Me, with the post-song introduction where he says that piece was recorded live at the famous 1 Second Club in 1944. It was inspired by the clarity of consciousness rather than the vividness of dream, and was the self-proclaimed pinnacle of broken bridges and chest pressure. 1 Second Club in 1944 refers to the painting by Dali, which was painted in 1944, and contains the words 1 second in the title. Chest pressure refers to the feeling one has during sleep paralysis. Many people who suffer from this disorder say they experience pressure in the chest and have a hard time breathing. On March 15th, 2004, Chuck Niles passed away. You will recognize his voice from the end of this track. He's not mentioned in any liner notes per his request. Dino used to listen to him in college and asked him if he would contribute something to the record, hence his voice. He was a legend in the world of jazz. And if you haven't picked up on it, Michael, this is my absolute favorite song on the record. I love Woe Is Me.
I think you told me that.
Do you have anything else on this song?
Nope.
Absolutely gorgeous. All right. So we move on from Woe Is Me into the final track on the record. This is track number 16, The Canyon Behind Her. Michael, what do you have on this?
I love the opening. and I love the end. Perfect. 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 We
It's amazing.
have a good ender, finally. It's not filler.
I've described sections of several songs on this record as feeling big, huge, and epic. This song tops them all. It feels absolutely massive, sweeping, and epic. I love the piano melody that opens the song and the Japanese language spoken piece that goes along with it, enticing us to dig into the Dali painting to see what inspired the record. From there, it gives way to a really heavy piece of music and a gorgeous vocal melody from Gavin. Dino absolutely kills it on both the drums and piano on this song. There's a really killer bass line from Drew through the verses. A powerful guitar riff from Mark plays through the chorus, while he has a more minimalistic play through the verses. The closing moments of the song are absolutely epic. There's Gavin's heart-wrenching vocal performance when delivering the lines, "Though half of me is gone, the lonesome part is left. I cannot find the other half," accompanied by a men's choir. The music is so big. We're coming to the close of an epic journey. The sounds of chaos and cacophony accompanied by the sounds of a men's vocal choir. It's an incredible and emotional way to close out the record. From our friends on Traversing Board, the translation of the Japanese speaking voice at the beginning of the track says, "This album was inspired by a painting titled Dream Caused by the Flight of a Bee Around a Pomegranate 1 second before awakening. It is recommended that you view this painting as you listen to El Cielo. It is as if one stimulus awakens other senses." So in other words, it's about drawing music. In the painting, if you think about it, there is a canyon behind the woman Gala, which would be a nice way of getting the title, The Canyon Behind Her. In analyzing dreams, the number 16, which is the number on this final track, typically signifies spiritual cleansing and the destruction of the old and birth of the new. However, sometimes in analyzing dreams, you are to add the single digits together, which would be 1 plus 6 equals 7. The number 7 denotes mental perfection, healing, completion, music, and attainment of high spirituality. Just an incredible way to close out the record. And I've seen live performances of this song, and it's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Michael, have you got anything else on The Canyon Behind Her?
Nope.
Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to move into our final thoughts and give our album ratings. Michael, let's get your final thoughts.
I love this record. I loved listening to it. I enjoyed my experience. I like the meaning behind it. And I think I'm going to have to give it a 5 out of 5.
Perfect score from Michael. You know, Michael, I'm really happy you enjoyed this record so much. I was kind of on the fence about whether or not you would like it.
Why were you? Out of curiosity.
I just didn't know if you would get into it that much because it's quite a bit different from anything that I've had you listen to before. It's very artsy. It's definitely very proggy. And it's a far cry from something like listening to 5150 or anything from Periphery. So I wasn't sure if you were going to like it or not. I'm really glad you did.
I mean, Periphery stuff ain't that heavy.
I would highly encourage you, if you liked this album that much, to check out Dredge's other stuff. It's all phenomenal.
I may have to.
My final thoughts on the record. This album is an absolute masterpiece. I often describe dredg to those that have never heard them before as poetry in motion. No words of mine will ever be able to do it justice. You just have to hear it for yourself. Get your best pair of headphones, find some time in a quiet place, and let yourself be carried away on this magical journey. I don't think I can put into words how much this album means to me, how much influence it has had on me. This album really opened my eyes to what music could be. Sure, I had heard prog bands like Tool and Rush before, but something about dredg just hit me so different. There is a haunting beauty to this record. The four musicians all deliver, in my opinion, their magnum opus. It remains an all-time favorite that stays in heavy rotation for me. El Cielo is nothing short of sheer perfection, and it gets a perfect score for me as well, 5 out of 5.
And zero filler.
Absolutely zero filler, yes.
The only thing that you could probably argue for filler is the segues.
Oh, I disagree.
But,
I totally disagree. The segues are definitely not filler at all.
That would be the only thing I would think that you could argue.
I can't make that argument at all. I'd fight you all day long about it. There's something beautiful about each one of those segues, and they're so unique, and they bring a different flavor. They are not throwaway songs at all. They're an integral part of the whole. That'll bring us to our question for the audience. What is your favorite track on El Cielo and why? I'm really looking forward to getting people's responses on this. I am actually curious how other people also feel about El Cielo on the whole. For me, this is, like I said, it's sheer perfection. So looking forward to getting into some discussion with folks on this one. Michael, anything else before we move into our next segment?
Nope.
All right. So now we're getting into our next segment. This is Can't Wait. New music coming soon. Michael, what you got for us?
I'm excited for the Paradise Slaves record.
Yeah, that comes out on May 2nd. New record's titled With Hell in His Eyes. And why are you looking forward to that one so much, Michael?
I love the singer.
Yep, it's Brock Lindo from 36 Crazy Fists.
Was from 36 Crazy Fists.
Correct.
And that's really it.
Yeah, there's a couple of other records coming out that I'm looking forward to, and I know you're looking forward to at least one of these. On April 25th, Machine Head's new record Unatoned is coming. And also on April 25th, Night of the Round's record Refractions is on its way. So I know you're looking forward to that Night of the Round record in full.
Yep. I was going to hold off on that one and let you talk about it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm such a big Final Fantasy nerd.
Nerd.
I have expressed my love for Nobuo Uematsu over and over and over again. He, in my mind, is the master. He is just a masterful composer. Maybe the best video game composer of all time. And I love what Night of the Round does with that Final Fantasy music. I love their arrangements. They take these beautiful compositions and turn them into heavy metal masterpieces. Love it. Michael, I do have something for you, a surprise for you for this segment. Nothing, no date, so keep that in mind. But there was a interesting teaser post from Carnival earlier this week.
It's a band that's been in the grave for 10 years.
They posted a picture of them working in the studio.
Oh, hey, are you sure it wasn't from 10 years ago?
I'm positive. Could we finally be on the road to a new Carnival record?
Don't get your hopes high.
I'm just saying. Keep your fingers crossed.
That's the only thing you can do. That band is an interesting band.
Thought you might be excited about that, Michael.
I am.
Okay, anything else for this segment before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So we'll move into our next segment. This is listener feedback, and we did get a couple pieces of listener feedback this time around, Michael. In response to our question for the audience from our last episode, that question was, what is your favorite song from Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow and why? Beyond the Veil on Blue Sky says, gotta go with Man on the Silver Mountain. And I can totally see that. It's a fantastic song. It's a great opener. Any comments on that one, Michael?
Nope.
We also got another piece of feedback regarding episode 19. Overlord Metal on Instagram says, thank you for the support. Glad that you like our album Awaken the Fury and specifically our song Battle at Marathon. Yeah, thank you very much for allowing us to play Battle at Marathon on the show. We really enjoyed it, especially Michael.
Yes.
All right. Moving on from listener feedback, we are getting into our final segment. This is Michael's journey, discovering a song from the past. This time around, we're going to get Michael's thoughts on Barrett Strong's Money, That's What I Want. A little bit of background on this one. This is a rhythm and blues song written by Tamla founder Berry Gordy and Janie Bradford, which was the first hit for Gordy's Motown enterprise. Barrett Strong recorded it in 1959 as a single for the Tamla label, distributed nationally on Honor Records. The song developed out of a spontaneous recording session at the Hitsville Studio A in Detroit. Berry Gordy and Barrett Strong began by improvising on piano and vocals, and were joined by Benny Benjamin on drums and Brian Holland on tambourine. Authors Jim Cogan and William Clark only identify the guitarist and bass guitarist as two white kids walking home from high school who heard the music out on the street and wandered into Hitsville and asked if they could play along. They add that Strong claimed he never saw the two boys who played bass and guitar again. However, the guitarist has also been identified as Eugene Grew, who claimed that Barrett showed him what to play.
Interesting.
Yeah. In the U.S., the song became Motown's first hit in June 1960, making it to number 2 on the Hot R&B Sides chart and number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song was listed as number 288 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. Greil Marcus has pointed out that Money was the only song that brought Strong's name near the top of the national music charts, but that one time has kept him on the radio all his life. So with that said, Michael, let's get your thoughts on this song.
I like the beat and the instrument usage. I like the vocals. It's just nice. And it can be hooky at times.
Had you ever heard the song before? Or any version of it?
No.
No?
And the backup singers are a nice thing to have.
Yeah, they're a nice addition, right? It's good. It's a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
That main piano riff in the song is so good. It's hooky as hell. The song has a very danceable, sort of jazzy vibe to it, especially with the drums, bass, and guitar work. Barrett's vocal performance is so big. He puts a lot of enthusiasm and power into his performance. The vocal melody, especially during the chorus, is so hooky. He pulls you right in and begs you to sing along with him. when I hear this song, I can't help but think of seeing these musicians in the studio and just jamming out, the backup singers dancing while they sing. It's such a good song. It's an absolute classic. Michael, let's get your rating out of 5 on this song.
5.
Michael gives it a perfect score. Glad you like this one, Michael. Out of curiosity, have you been enjoying these little individual songs we've been touching on this segment?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
They're like
yes.
fun little side quests.
Yes. We got put on the side quest again.
Well, speaking of side quests, up next for you, Michael, you're going to hear the song by the Four Tops titled I Can't Help Myself.
Am I allowed to Leroy Jenkins into the next raid?
For our next episode, our main topic is we're going to be discussing Sammy Hagar's 1982 release, Standing Hampton. I assume that's what you were talking about, Michael. Looking forward to that, are you?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. And with that said, we do want to hear from you. We will read your emails and messages on the show. We have only one request. Keep them clean. There are several ways to contact us. You can email us at lightmovepod@gmail.com. You can also reach us on several social media platforms, such as Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Details on how to connect with us are in the show notes. We are part of the SPDM Crew Podcast Network. Check out all of the podcasts on the network by visiting spdmcrew.com.
If you like the show, subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform and share with your friends and family. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and a variety of other platforms. We are also on YouTube. Can't find us on your chosen platform? Shoot us a message and let us know. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This helps us to be found in the algorithm. Make them good and we'll read them on the air. Are you in a band and you'd like for us to check you out and possibly drop a recommendation on the show? Shoot us a message. We'd love to check you out and give you a shout.
We'd like to thank you very much for listening to the Leitmotif and Movement podcast.
Take care and enjoy the music.